The Cowboys' first injury report is out, and it is almost entirely great news. There's one mostly minor exception I still think plays overall into the good news from the injury report. Before we get into that, though, we are in a comment battle this week against the Browns report. Now, against most of the channels here at Chat Sports, it's David versus Goliath. The Cowboys report is simply bigger. I would like to embarrass them, like a SEC program against the Little Sisters of the Poor. Let's blow them out of the water. Let's have some fun at Matthew Peterson's expense, too, our Browns report host. Everyone type in L Petey for me in the comments section. Only one player did not fully participate in today's Cowboys practice. That is tight end John Stephens Jr., who did not participate with a hamstring injury. Now, obviously, that part is not good news. When that is the only player who is not participating before week one, that's actually probably a good thing, given he's your number 3, maybe your number 4 tight end, depending on how the Cowboys want to value things. So I would wager, unlikely you see John Stephens Jr. out there in week one. Kind of answers one of your question marks about who's going to be inactive for you come game day. I don't think you'll see John Stephens Jr. active for the Browns matchup. We'll see if he improves as the week goes on, but he did not participate on Wednesday. Now, a handful of other players also on the injury report. These bear monitoring, but they were full participants, which means they had no issues in practice, but there was at least some minor soreness involved. I think soreness is several of these players' injuries here. Mazy Smith, full with an Achilles issue. Issue might even be too strong. He was a full participant at practice. Probably just a little sore is probably what that is there. And that's a good thing. To only have it be a full, right? Like, I'd rather him obviously not be on there, but fine. All indications say he'll be able to play, and that's a good thing because, boy, you need him to be better. You need better play out of Mazy Smith this year. And look, Cowboys official depth chart will break that down later this week, put him in as the starter. I think that makes sense. It's going to be a committee. You're not going to only play 2 DTs every single one of your snaps. That's not how football works. But you need him out there because we'll see how close Linval Joseph is. I think there's an outside chance he's a scratch. I think you kind of need him with only 4 TTs on the roster, but you need Mazi Smith to give you 20-25 quality snaps where he's not getting washed out and blown out of the play. Valid answers across the board here, given what we saw in year one. What is your confidence level in Mazi Smith? 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. The ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Couple players here who had missed some previous time at practice. Deone Clark is first up. He was a full participant with that knee issue that he had kind of battled down the stretch of the preseason and training camp. Again, if you're full on a Wednesday, that normally bodes and means you're going to play come Sunday unless there's a setback. And knock on wood, there will be no setbacks. I will do my prayer circle tweet. Don't worry. We have to prevent the Thursday injuries from continuing. Cowboys have 5 linebackers on the roster. We'll come back to DeMarvion Overshown in a little bit. Eric Kendricks, Buddy Johnson, Maurice Leofau. I'd wager they're all active, and maybe not so much Buddy Johnson, but I think those top 4 guys, Overshown, Kendricks, Clark, and Leofau, will be active and involved on defense come week 1. Marshawn Neun also on this list. He was a full participant with a knee there as well. Again, nothing to be overly concerned about. It's all good news. Good news, everybody, right? Just like from Futurama. And that is especially good because, boy, do you need him out there. You got Micah Parsons. It's great. You got Tank Lawrence. That's great. Chauncey Golston, Tyrus Sweet, Marshawn Neun are being counted on to replace Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, and Sam Williams. That math ain't mathin'. Now, I have hopes and optimism about Marshawn Neun, but you need him out there and you need him to be a contributor early on. The Cowboys are banking a lot more on this year's rookie class than what they were last year. Early returns are way better, but you need Kneeland to play well. Today's Cowboys Report is made possible by Game Time. Game Time is the place for last-minute tickets for a variety of reasons, the latest of which is their new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. Makes getting to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets, and you know you're getting a fantastic deal in the process. Their all-in pricing feature also allows you to see the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You can just turn that toggle on. You can turn on the Game Time Picks toggle as well. Choose your date. Doesn't have to be football, by the way. College football, MLB for a couple more days, maybe weeks if you're a good team. NBA when that comes back. Concerts, comedy, theater, and more. So download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account and redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today because what time is it? It's game time. Into the secondary we go now. Israel Mukuamu. These next two guys, I was a little bit worried about their week 1 statuses. He's good to go with a full groin, or was full with a groin injury, there. He's going to be your top backup nickel. I think he'll be active on game days. He can be your emergency outside corner, your emergency nickel, your emergency safety if you need one. We'll see if Andrew Booth ends up being active come game days. But I do think you'll need to have Mukuamu active because of the flexibility and versatility that he provides. Now, we'll have more Cowboys videos for you guys all season long. This is your second one of the day. We'll basically be at 2 videos per day. There'll be some exceptions, sometimes more, sometimes less, but it'll be about 2 per day plus our live shows. We up the content because of people like you who have subscribed. If you haven't already, then join the party. Hit that sub button for free right here on the Cowboys Report. Juanyeh Thomas, also a full participant with that groin that he had been previously battling. Seems like he came back at a pretty good clip from that injury. Of note, he was also back there getting some return work. And I think it's mostly going to be Kevontae Turpin. He's going to be your number 1 guy. The number 2 guy, Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn. I think Juanyeh Thomas is a fun sleeper option. And even some trick play possibilities, given that you would expect him to be on your normal coverage units and your normal blocking units as well. He was really good in that role at Georgia Tech, briefly. Didn't do it a ton. He did it his freshman year. Was a freshman All-American on kick returns, by the way. Housed a 100-yard return against Georgia. Sleeper, sneaky, fun idea there. And also someone you just like to find a way to get on the field more. The Cowboys safety room is pretty good. You have Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Juanyeh Thomas, Marquise Bell. It's not loaded with all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber players, but I think you have 4 legitimate starters at safety. I can't remember the last time I've said that about the Cowboys, if I've ever said that about the Cowboys, or if you can wind back the history books and find one in the 80s or something. I also think that not many teams can say that. So I would love to find a way to get Juanyeh Thomas on the field more. I don't really know how that happens, barring injury, and I don't ever want to cheer for injury, so it's a bit complicated. But do you think Dallas needs to find a way to do that? Y for yes and for no in the comment section of today's video. I would argue that maybe the best news you got today is who wasn't on that injury report. Remember, Brandon Cooks had missed a little bit of training camp preseason time with that knee injury. The last time the Cowboys had an open practice, Cooks was not out there, and there was some question marks as to why, but there were no injury reports. We didn't know. He wasn't even on there today. He was not listed on the injury report, so that very clearly minor conservative knee injury, not a problem. Brandon Cooks is ramped up, ready to go. He will be out there week 1 against the Cleveland Browns, which you need him against a very good defense. There had been some concern over DeMarvion Overshown and that hip pointer. He had already returned to practice previously, so I think that the concerns there were not as bad as maybe people thought they had to be or whatever. He wasn't on the injury report either. Great news for Overshown. We'll talk about the depth chart later on this week. He was listed as a backup to Maurice Liufau. I don't know if I buy that, especially from a snap count perspective. Maybe base packages. I still kind of doubt that to a certain extent. I think you are fingers crossed Overshown stays healthy and looks like the guy we've seen him been through 2 very promising preseason games. Also not on there, offensive guard Zach Martin. They were managing, and I think he just kind of rolled an ankle, basically. So nothing overly concerning there. Was not on the injury report. I will frankly say, though, Zach Martin, with I think Tank Lawrence too, especially once you get past the first week of football, give them a veteran rest day. I don't need them practicing on Wednesday and or Friday. Like, give them that vet rest day and make sure they are good to go for the games, the stuff that matters this season.